Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Video editing on the Mac with an internal or boot drive in this case versus going to an external drive. A lot of people will tell you that, especially if you don't have that big of a boot drive or internal drive, hey, just use an external drive and do all your video editing from there. Why not, right? Well, let's see if we can figure out this little puzzle together. So I'm going to use iMovie because it's the main one I use. Now, as soon as I drag and drop this, doesn't matter if I drop it here or here, makes no difference, okay? It's gonna appear one way or another, okay? So, boom, instant, ready to go, okay? Now, this is the kind of video editing I generally do for the most part. And I'll just clip this here, split the clip, delete, put in my intro. Now this is basic editing, but the more files you have, the more files you have. That's all there is to it.
See ya.
And then I'll take that and I'll clip it there. And boom. Now this is a 23 minute and 11 seconds in and out, okay? That's with the intro and outro in there, okay? All right, so let's export this thing, because I don't need to do anything with lighting, coloration, or any of that. But your project's going to take you as long as how complex you make it. But this is just to see what the export times are like, etc. Okay? So we're going to export. Now, this file, by the way, is on my boot drive. Okay? So no big deal. All right? And it's a 1080p file, so that's how we're going to export it. And I'm just going to go with default, so I'm going to click Next. And we're just going to call this Test 1, okay, and we're going to click Save and see how long it takes. And it's going to go to my desktop. So what we're looking for here is to see that says approximately 3 minutes, okay, is about what it's saying it's going to do. So you can time that yourself from when we started that and figure it out, and we'll see what the difference is going to be. It may even tell us the difference when we go to do this on the external drive, okay? So we're gonna let this thing go until it's done, all right? So I'll just leave that up there for you, and you can see we got the progress indicator going up here to tell us here what's happening. So anyways, in the meantime, while we're waiting, I have not been a real fan of exporting or doing any kind of video editing from an external drive as far as what would be a data or a dump drive. Okay, now my current boot drive is actually an external Thunderbolt drive that is actually about 400 megabytes per second faster than my internal's Mac Mini drive. And this is a Mac Mini M1 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and an internal 512, which we are not using that 512 at all. It's not even on the screen anywhere. So if we look at our activity monitor, for example, while this is going on, you can see we've got memory in use is only about 9 gigs. So between the OS and iMovie, choose almost about a gig to do this video. Now iMovie is under 200 megabytes of RAM required. Well, now it's going over a gig just to fire it up. But once you get your project in there and you're doing stuff, you're going to be chewing up more RAM from the computer, especially for the program itself, because it's graphic based, right? It's also a performance type of app as well, so it's going to be using your performance cores. So anyways, but we can see it's using, about a gigabyte of RAM, okay, which is, it's acceptable. It's not bad, right? Okay, so anyways, let's quit the activity monitor here, and let's see how much time we got left. We got about 1 minute left, it says. All right, so that's not bad. Now, I've done video editing on the PC for years as well, because there was a time period where I kind of left the Apple systems altogether, mainly because gaming got really severely sucky and PCs ruled. So I figured, well, hey, so I a good chunk of my, well, I wouldn't say a good chunk anymore, but because I got almost 5,000 videos, but hundreds of videos on my channel from way back in the day were actually done not only with crappier cameras, obviously, but also with a Windows computer. And I used Movie Maker, And even dropping the file on that thing, it takes a while for that file to get in there, even a small file, you know, before I can even do anything with the editing, right? So, you know, this is like dump and go, and Apple has been always really good for that, especially when you're using either an internal or an external drive as a boot drive. It makes no difference. The computer doesn't know. So it's pretty like you drop it, you start editing right away. Poof, you're ready to go, right? Going from an external, we're going to see where there's a bit of a difference. Okay, now this video is done. All right, so now we're going to delete this out of here because we need to get rid of it all, right? And we're going to delete the media from the event, and we're going to quit iMovie. Now, we're going to take our raw file here, right? And we're going to copy it to the 1 terabyte drive. Done. Okay, now we delete it from here. Okay, so now it's going to be gone. It's history. Okay, so now we have to be able to open up this drive to dump it on, because we can't drag it back to the desktop or it's going to go back to the boot drive. Okay, so now we got to figure, okay, well, where'd that video go that we just did that to? Okay, so that's right here. Okay, so now we know where that is. So we're going to just put that down there for a second. And we're going to fire up iMovie now. And now we're going to drag and drop this way. And watch what happens up here. Now it's got a timer going to import it in. It's got to copy it back across, right? And so let's see what happens now. Okay, so we'll snip that little area out. And we'll put our intro in. And we'll get back to the other end of this. Oop, too far.
Drive. Okay. As my thing. So, anyways, see ya.
Okay, and we're going to snip. And we're going to export it. Okay. Call this test 2. And this will go to the desktop, which means it's going completely to the boot drive now. So now it's got to go the other way around. All right. So let's click save. Okay, we started our process. What kind of time frame? We still get 3 minutes. That's not too bad. Okay, but we'll have to, do a full calculation, obviously. But it looks like it's going to do the same for the export. So not bad. Okay, I'm not going to say it's a perfect solution. I mean, bringing that video in is where it's going to take a couple of extra seconds. Now, this is just, keep in mind, this is only a 20-some minute video. It's in 1080p. The file size is not very big. Okay, and this is like the basic of basic video editing that you do, right? So, but a more complex project with more files. Okay, so whatever you're doing, audio files into the window, into the timelines, all that stuff, more video stuff, transitions, all that's going to take longer to bring in all those files total, instead of an instant drag and drop with your whole mess of files. Now it's going to take time either way. So even though it's only a couple seconds, that's actually not bad. Okay, so I'm not going to completely disagree with video editing. Now, if I resave this file to the other drive, which you would want to do that's what we're going to do next. So we're just going to do a resave, and we're going to put it back where we got it from, okay, and see if there's a difference there, all right? So just bear with me on this video, okay? I know this is going to be a bit of a lengthy video, but we want to know what is really the better way to really do this. Now, obviously, our export times do seem to be timed the same, whether we're, going with taking the file from the boot drive, putting it in for boom, and we just save some time. Okay, a couple seconds is a couple seconds in this case, but remember, it's basic editing. It's not complex. Okay, and our export time is rated at about 3 minutes. Our import time is a little bit slower coming from an external drive source. Okay, but our export time seems to be timed around the same. Okay, so that's actually good. Now this 1 terabyte drive, by the way, that we're pulling the file from, it's equally as fast. It's actually a little bit faster, not by much, but it's a little bit faster than my Mac Mini drive. Okay, but the main boot drive is far faster. So I think we can pretty much say, as far as limitations go for how much drive speed we really need, I think anything around 3,000, 3,200. I mean, I don't think you're going to see much improvement past that. Okay, but you know, one never knows. So let's have this thing finish off, and then we'll do one more final save, and we'll save it to the internal of the 1 terabyte. So we'll be able to grab that file there shortly. Okay. Okay, so looks like we're done. So, all right, now let's resave this again, but this time instead of saving it to the desktop, let's save it to the inside of that internal drive, or external drive that we got the file from. So let's export here. I'm going to go test 3. Okay, but now we're going to put this over to, this is going to be 1 terabyte HD. So 1 terabyte Mac HD, yep. So that's where it's going to go, and it'll go inside that drive. So ready, set, go. And it looks like it's going to still do it in 3 minutes. Now, if your drives are much slower, okay, so you're using like a Type-C drive that doesn't matter what you put inside that case, it's still going to be only around 900 to 1,000 megabits per second, that's where we would probably see a difference in export timing. It's going to definitely be slower, which would also slow down the, dumping the file in as well. Like we just got it done pretty quick, couple of little seconds there when we dumped it in. So, and that's with a fast drive, but with something that's 3 or 3.2 times slower, that would take much longer, okay, to bring it in. And so I think we would actually see an export time difference as well, especially exporting back to the external drive. But we'd also probably see a difference too if we were going to just export it back to our main drive. Now, a lot of people don't want to video edit on their boot drive because, well, they need that space for other things. Well, for me, I keep all my important data and backups of my videos actually onto external drives. And so I have loads of space with my 1 terabyte boot drive, which is an external, okay? I have loads of space left over for doing my video editing all on that drive, and it allows me to put more and more big programs on if I want to, okay? Because there are main applications, so not games, I would rather have them on and running from the boot drive because they're going to run a lot better that way, okay? Games, that's another thing. Games don't need, technically 3,000 megabytes per second transfer rates, okay? I've done it with 900 and have had no ill effects, okay? So even at 900 megabytes per second, so Type-Cs, which is where I started with originally a few years back. When I got my Mini, I didn't have Thunderbolt drives right away, so I just, cheaped out and got what I could afford at the time for some Type-C drives. I still have them. And they work exceedingly well, and for the games I was running at the time off those drives didn't really make any difference. And there doesn't seem to be even any difference now between running them off of like a Type-C drive versus a Thunderbolt. So if you need to save ports, you could, and just go, run everything off of a Type-C external, right, as opposed to a Thunderbolt. But I prefer Thunderbolt because it's way, way faster for everything, even copying files back and forth, backing stuff up. Thunderbolt is way faster. So, and besides, you're not torturing the drive so bad. So anyway, so it looks like we're probably looking at, in realistic terms, I think as far as the export times go, we're going to be definitely looking at everything exactly the same, okay? Or within a few seconds or whatever. So the big difference here with video editing from an external source is going to be you're going to have a couple of extra seconds per file that you dump into your editor to get it to be usable. Okay, so we did see that happen, doing it that way, where we saw instantaneous right off the main drive. Now every time I cut a video on my iPad or my iPhone, I just airdrop it to the computer, and it automatically goes, because it has to, it automatically goes right to my boot drive. So everything's always done from there for me. So you can move it later if you want to, or however you do your files. I mean, it's kind of really up to you on how you do stuff anyways. But I thought we would give this a shake and see for ourselves live on screen, is there a big difference? Because we've heard people talk about it and tell us, but I've never found a video yet where anybody has literally shown what I'm showing you guys here today. So, you know, that does make a difference, seeing it, you know, live on screen kind of deal. So, but that's what I got for you guys today on that one. And hope you enjoyed the video. So I guess we'll have to catch you guys on the next one. So, see ya!